Hare Krishna. The mind may show us a horror movie, but we don't have to watch it. Suppose we visit a friend and that friend insists to us, come on, let's watch a horror movie. Now, if we don't like horror movies, we may say, yeah, maybe I'll meet your relatives, you can watch the horror movie. Just because somebody is showing us a horror movie, we are not obliged to watch it. If somebody external to us shows a horror movie, we easily say no to it. But quite often there is an agent inside us who shows us a horror movie, and we passively watch it and get overwhelmed, get horrified by it. That inner shower of the horror movie is the mind. The Bhagavad-gita cautions us that our mind can act as our enemy. So, in 6.6 in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says that Bandhuratma atmanastasya yenatmaivatmana jitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. Krishna says the uncontrolled mind is our worst enemy, whereas the controlled mind is our friend. So when the mind is uncontrolled, what happens? It goes off in undesirable directions. So for example, when one thing goes wrong, for example, say our boss criticizes us for some mistake we have made. Now that one criticism becomes a trigger for the mind's imagination. And from that point, the mind starts imagining, oh, I've been criticized. If I get criticized, maybe my boss will be upset with me, I'll not get a raise. Oh, I may lose my job. What if I lose my job? What will I do? And what if I get a bad record? And then if I try to get some other job, I'll not get a job also. And if I'm jobless, then I'll be disgraced. What face will I show to my relatives? Oh, if I don't get a job, how will I have food on my table? How will I live? Oh, I'll starve to death. I'll come on the streets. Now actually and now people start sweating, start palpitating, start getting paralyzed by such thoughts. Now actually speaking, if we see, nothing has happened right now. Okay, we made some mistake, we can correct that mistake and we can move onwards in our life. But the mind has started showing us a horror movie. And if we can just understand that this horror movie is not real and it may never become a reality. If we look back at our lives, many of the things that we worry about, most of those things don't really happen. But 95% of the things which we fear, they hardly ever happen. But we get carried away. So we get carried away into a world of gloom and doom when the mind starts showing us a horror movie. But when we start getting overwhelmed by fearful, negative, panicky thoughts, at that time you can just become aware, oh, this is the mind showing me a horror movie. Just turn away. I won't watch this horror movie. One of the best ways to turn off the horror movie is to turn on something else. If a horror movie is going on TV and we don't want to watch it, we can just change the channel or turn off the TV. Now when the mind is showing a horror movie inside, there is no button to turn it off literally. But what we can do is, we can turn on something else and then our consciousness will go toward that something else. So for example, if we chant the holy names of Krishna, that connection with Krishna through chanting will calm our mind. It will give another direction for our thoughts to move. We can pray to Krishna, we can do something constructive in a mood of service. And especially if we find out things which we like to do, which absorb us easily, then our own absorption combined with the higher power of God, which comes when we are doing anything devotional, both of them can direct our consciousness towards more safe and joyful directions. And thus, we needn't become victimized by the horror movie shown by the mind. Unlike the horror movies shown by a friend, in that horror movie we are simply the spectator. But in the horror movie shown by the mind, we are not the spectator, we are actually the victim. And that's why we get there's a danger of getting extremely overwhelmed by this. To avoid that, we need to cultivate the practice of directing our thoughts in constructive directions through practices such as meditation, prayer, and then when the horror movie of the mind starts turning on, we immediately start turning on the devotional channel in our mind. And as our thoughts get channeled along the devotional channel, we will not be overwhelmed by anxiety and negativity. Thank you. Hare Krishna.